It's a long gap. How much time we got? Almost 1.9. Holy smokes. Let's lower that down.
I see around me.
I think that's
so lovely because what you said is exactly what I think whenever I watch an episode. Like, I wish my parents were like that. It's so cool, and it is really about a happy family. And you do throw in some of the trauma, but you in the episode feeling good, which I feel like we need more shows like that. Mitch and I often talk about the negative things in the world and vent to each other. And sometimes when we watch shows, I just straight up say, I don't want a show all about trauma, especially for me. If it's a show all about slavery, being black in the South, I don't need 30 minutes to know why that is bad. I can figure that out later. And I think it's good that you can bring some of that in, but just remind everyone they're also a loving family just living their lives. And with that, and telling that story, you created the show, you're an executive producer, and you're writing some of the episodes. How do you balance all of those roles and star in the show? You're doing a lot. Oh, it's not easy.
What are we doing here? Let's delete that gross old mouth noise. Move this in. This little chuckle. It's a great question. And it kind of like makes it sound like it's not serious. So I will get rid of this. And this is going to leave us with this little empty gap here. And this is what we're going to put some stuff on the vocal bus track to help us out with this. We're going to put a little bit of tape noise in the background. It's subtle, but it helps with this complete emptiness to where it sounds a little bit like room noise. So we'll leave this empty, and we'll use that as our tool. 9/10. I like to do about 8/10
in the show. You're doing a lot.
Oh, it's not easy. It's hard.
I can't really.
It's hard.
It's quite hard. It's well, firstly, I have a really amazing team around.
It's
I don't think we even need this.
quite hard.
Oh, maybe we do. That doesn't sound good.
Quite hard. It's well, firstly, I have a really amazing.
Yeah, I think we need that.
It's quite hard. It's
Well, firstly, I have a really amazing team around me. Like my best
That's
friend,
all
Calvin, is the co-creator. In season.
Can't always get rid of all of them.
in season.
Gross mouth.
In season.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. We had wonderful showrunners. Season 2, Anthony Q. Farrell came on board. He wrote on The Office.
He wrote on The Office. He wrote.
I think we need more of a gap there.
He wrote on.
See, even that, there's this little gap right here. What is this? Not even 100th. It's like about 100th of a second. Oh, I'm sorry, 1/10 of a second. Yeah, it's about 1/10 of a second. Even that, I think, made a huge difference. This little clip right here. Like when we cut it all the way to here, I don't think that sounded good. But when we cut just to the end, and remember, I was just cutting right when this waveform ends, like right when that waveform ends. I'm cutting that, and I'm trying to cut as close to the beginning of this as possible. You still want to leave a little bit of room here at the beginning, just because of when people go to say they have that little throat noise before the so you don't want that in there, and that's usually pretty small in the waveform, so I leave like a couple of milliseconds before that. I cut that, and then we get rid of this disgusting mouth noise.
He wrote on The Office. He wrote on The Office.
Sounds great.
Whenever you're up in Canada, I think he's one of the first, or like only black writers in The Office for a long time. And so having him to kind of, and he's a dad like me. He's like very much like me. So him always like, him and I always having conversations.
So him always like.
Okay, same thing with the consonants. The H, him. That's like right here. You can see it's higher frequency. So I'm going to grab the end of that H.
Him always like, him and I always having conversations. So him and I always.
Sounds great.
Me. So him and I always having
conversations. In season 3, you had
having conversations. In season 3,
you had came up as a writer.
Came up as a writer in season 1.
Sometimes I'll get rid of these little noises, a little emphasis before the word, But sometimes it sounds natural. I think this sounds good.
and came up as
Radio season 1 and 2. Now it's co-starring with Jennifer Harper. Again, live in the suburbs. Jenica's a mom, newly South Asian woman. Her and I came up through improv together. We have a great relationship. And so it's just really, really great team. I have a wonderful assistant. Her name is Alexa. And it's so funny because every time
and it's so funny.
Or we want to keep as much of a gap here after the
And it's so funny because every
I say Alexa, someone's like, do you mean like the app? Is it
It's like if we this one might actually sound okay.
and it's so funny because every time it was Alexa, and it's so funny because
Yeah, I think that sounds too quick. The way he starts that, and with the cadence that he has this start of the sentence with, I think he'd kind of need that little bit of a gap.
and it's so funny because every time
I say Alexa, someone's
And it's so funny that
do you mean
like the app? Is your sister just like a Google app? No, like no, it's a real person. She like works
she like
we have two breaths here. We don't want to conflate those.
she like works line
lines with me, and she's always like, her and I do improv together.
No, thank you with that.
her and I do improv.
I did improv together for years, and she's always like giving me tips. I'm like, it'd be really funny if you did this. So season 3, Andrew really leans into being like a dad who's just trying. So she's like, okay, do a thing where like when you're talking to kids, you try to dab and like make eye contact, like you're just like unsure, and it comes out so sad and pathetic, and it's so funny. And we just have like millennials try to talk to their kids. So like her so it's really just having.
So it's
The only time, excuse me, the only time that I like to fade words in is on these consonant sounds, mostly usually just S's. This is like an SH, a sh.
so it's really
Oh no, it's so.
so it's really just
And you can fade. You can see I don't even fade it in that much, but this is the only. I think the only word that I've faded in this whole time, and that's because it's an S sound. And those consonants, you kind of have a little bit of a leeway with those consonants in general. Keep those consonants in mind when you're editing. They're powerful.
so it's really
Really just having an amazing team. And obviously, CBC and People 21 Depression Company are great. But I will say this.
Okay, we have a long pause here. We're gonna get rid of some of it and get rid of that gross mouth noise.
but I will say
Yeah, the only thing is I hit X to highlight everything, and Control X is delete. So sometimes you'll see me delete everything afterwards, which is fine. I can just Control Z that.
but I will say
This.
it's
Mm-hmm. Love this little.
it's
Nah, got to keep it.
it's hard. It's hard.
And I remember in season 1, I was a few times I was like really struggling. I was like stressed. First thing, I was dealing with the fallout of Kim's, and the show was fast tracked. It was like we were moving so fast to get the season done. And Catherine Reitman, who is a star showrunner creator of Working Moms on Netflix, her and I would just chat, and she would just write me the most like positive, encouraging messages, just like you got this. You may go back to your hotel room and cry, but you got this, and like stuff like that.
I'm always reminded.
Ooh, this one we might not be able to get rid of.
I'm always remind.
The reverb. The dang reverb.
I'm always.
We'll try it. I don't think we're.
I'm always.
No.
I'm always reminded.
By the people that were
Bummer.
always really, really supportive, and so she was really great. Ronnie Chang, when Ronnie Chang found out I got the show, he sent me like 1,000 Instagram messages.
Oh, the bumping of the mic.
When Ronnie Chang found out I got the
Show, he sent me
Oh.
like 1,000 Instagram messages. Were just like, don't let them push you
Kills me.
around, don't let them take away your voice. And he just was like, you gotta fight for your stories and your point of view. And so like he was so
he just was like, you gotta fight for your story.
We got two fights.
Fight for your
F. You know what F is? It's a consonant, baby. End of that F. The beginning of this F. So what I'm doing here is I'll highlight all the way, maybe scroll out, find this F, and I want to scroll in to get it real, just so right. And I'll hit Z to ripple delete. But now I'm nowhere near the edit. So I'll hit S to jump to the playhead. Now I'm right on the edit.
fight for your story. And he just was like, you gotta fight
When you make an edit like this, you don't just want to listen to just the edit, like right here.
for your
Yeah, okay, sounds fine. But how does that sound in the context of the rest of the sentence? So you want to go like a couple seconds back.
voice. And he just was like, you gotta fight for your stories and your point.
I think that sounds
You gotta fight for your stories.
your point of view. And so like he was so great at it. And like, Paul Simon Lee, who's Appa Kim's Convenience, Carson Teva, and Mandalorian, like he's one of my best friends. And so he's always just like, got it, brother, always support me. And so I feel like I've surrounded myself with really
I feel like I've
surrounded myself with really good people, and obviously my wife and kids. Just like, so this is a side.
And get rid of this whole thing here.
So this is a side. It's just like, so this is a side.
Maybe we'll use this other breath. It's a little bit more of a, I'm going to make a huge point here. We got this stupid mic bump in it, which I really don't like.
It's just like, so this is a side note, but I find often
I think it works. The breath works better. Unfortunately, we have this stupid microphone bump here, but I think it does sound more natural.
just like, so this
This is a side note, but I find oftentimes like I think our parents often
I think
I'm going to get rid of even more of this little gap here because we cut that and get rid of that mouth noise.
it's like, I think our parents
often hid their
hid.
Whoa. We'll highlight just this section here. And just turn it down. There's not a ton you can do here. You could add a deplosive to it. We do have that tool. We'll wait till this saves. But we do have the VST Restoration RX8 deplosive. We can try it. Oops.
hid
So this is where I would want to listen to this on a loop. So I'm gonna hit Control Q to enable looping. Now if I hit play, it's just gonna loop. I'll listen to it over and over, but we want to loop it. Boy, it does not sound much different. That sounds good. So this is just basically cutting all of the low end. Instead of just lowering the entire decibel level of it, we're just going to lower the low end around 50 hertz, 50 to 100 hertz, I believe. Not great, not a great solution, but what can you do? That's why plosives are so... You don't want any plosives in your podcast because they're pretty difficult to get rid of. And Control Q to disable looping. If we had that loop enabled, every time we would want to make a cut
hid
here.
their
Oh man! Every time we would want to make a cut, it would loop. So like, let's say we're
hid
listening to
their-
this.
hid
You know, if we want to keep listening, you know, we want to maybe highlight
hid
this,
their
but then keep listening. So we want to disable
uh,
looping.
struggle
or hid sometimes even
struggle or hid.
You know, I think we can get rid of this because this is an S. So I'm going to do that, but instead of fading this in, I'm just going to fade this out. I'm going to fade this S in a little bit.
Struggle or
Again, I might be crazy, but I think these S's, these especially S's, sound okay being faded
or
in.
hid. Sometimes even hid their jobs from us.